All right, my friends, happy Monday. Just wanted to share something interesting that happened this weekend, something that I observed and overheard. And I want to share it with everybody. I was going to write a blog post about it, but I'll spare everybody having to read that, and I'll just kind of share the story of what happened and to gather your insight, because I've shared it with a couple people, and we're of differing perspectives on this coaching situation. So Saturday morning, I was at a college track meet for the Atlantic Regional Championships held at Nazareth College. And it's a last chance qualifier basically for Division III Indoor Nationals for up here in the Northeast. And I was sitting at the meet waiting for the weight throw to begin. And there were two coaches that were sitting in front of my son and I. And Coach 1 said to Coach 2, or Coach A said to Coach B, hey, how did conference championships go last weekend? We thought that you would have won. So Coach B says, yeah, we should have, but one of our best athletes had a horrible weekend, and we didn't win. So Coach A then says, well, what happened? And this is the interesting part of this scenario. So Coach B says, well, our best, athlete underperformed. I'm kind of paraphrasing here because there were more F-bombs and things of that nature and a lot of four-letter words. He underperformed. He didn't compete well. And then he kind of chuckled a little bit, and he said, yeah, his girlfriend of like 7 years broke up with him the week before the conference championship. And he kind of giggled about it, Coach B. And then he continued on with shooting the breeze and things like that. But I found that very interesting, that comment about, his girlfriend, this superstar athlete's girlfriend broke up with him of like 7 years from what the coach said. And that experience of, that heartbreak, or however you want to phrase it, caused that particular athlete to have a poor performance at a conference championship, which in turn the coach perceived as, well, the reason why we didn't win is because this particular athlete who, maybe should have won, 3, 4, 5 events, whatever, didn't live up to a certain expectation, so the team didn't end up winning the championship. So I guess my question and there's a whole bunch to unpack there, tons to unpack, but I guess my question to everybody is, if you were Coach B in that situation and you found out that one of your best athletes had his or her hearts broken the week before a conference championship, how would you handle that situation, I guess, right? As the coach of that particular athlete, male or female, how would you handle that? 2, the coach said that he didn't know that situation happened to his athlete until after the conference championship. So 2, as a coach, should you be aware that, these situations occur on your track team? And I'm not just saying that we have to get personal with our athletes, but I think there's a certain level of expectation of, as a throwing coach, there's things that you learn about your athletes as, the seasons progress. This particular situation that happened to this coach, I had it happen every single season that I coached at the collegiate level. Either at Fredonia or Naz, there was always a situation of, coach, I'm really heartbroken. My boyfriend or girlfriend of, 2 weeks, 2 years, or whatever, we broke up, and I'm just so distraught and over myself. Now, when I was at Fredonia, I would handle the situation a little differently than I would today. And I had it happen. I can't tell you how many times this situation happens. And I chuckle about it because should an athlete should that situation of, breaking up with your significant other, should that affect your performance as much as maybe this coach perceived his athlete's performance to be affected? Now, I don't know. I never experienced that in college. I don't know what that would have felt like to have my heart broken the week before a conference championship, but it did happen at Naz on a few occasions, and we kind of worked through it a little bit. But I'm wondering for the coaches out there how you would handle the situation. So A, like, what would you have said to the athlete? Like, how would you have handled it initially? And then B, as the coach, should you be aware of those types of situations that are going on, amongst your athletes? Like, how personal, where do we draw the line with coach athlete relationships when it comes to those types of situations? So that's what happened this weekend. I was going to write about it. I was going to make this be a 1-minute video, and now here we are at like 5.5 minutes. I'm going to have to sum it up a lot shorter for everybody else. But comment, send a DM. I'm just wondering how other coaches have handled situations like this, because I just thought it was really interesting that I overheard these two coaches having this conversation. I mean, within earshot of there were athletes that were sitting close by. There were these two coaches that were engaged in this conversation. I was sitting there. I mean, obviously my son was sitting there as well, and there were other people around, and they just kind of had this nonchalant conversation, but they didn't really come to a conclusion about anything. There wasn't really, oh, how did you handle it, or what could you have done differently? So that's my coaching case study for this Monday, March, what do we have here? March 9th. What do you guys think, coaches, athletes, if you've experienced this type of situation? Well, maybe not so much for athletes, but coaches that have experienced this on your team, how have you handled it? And, how do you, have a conversation about this when you think it might impede an athlete's performance? Thank you very much, and have a great day.